infidelity is one thing, but infidelity with family is something entirely different.
When Teri sees her husband Miles and her cousin Faith humping on that wall in 1997 Soul Food, it exposed the invisible cracks already running through the Joseph family.
This scene wasn't just messy. It was the moment all the tension in the film gained form.
What makes the Miles and Cousin Faith scene unforgettable isn't the act itself, or it's not just the act. It's the aftermath. It forced Teri to confront not only Miles' disloyalty, but her own family's long-standing resentment and dependence on her.
I'm Heit.
And I'm Cheri.
And you've discovered Axiom Amnesia.
We want to thank all of the supporters who helped to make this video possible. If you want your name to appear alongside these contributors, make a one-time donation via Cash App, or you can head on over to patreon.com/axiomamnesia to enjoy all of the benefits of becoming a monthly subscriber.
Yeah, we're going to spoil soul food, so yeah.
Yes, and we've actually done quite a few videos on this movie. One of the big ones we did was Cousin Faith versus Cousin Ebony, Soul Food versus the Players Club, and the two cousins who, wind up sleeping with the main character or one of the main characters' man. But since Soul Food feels kind of like a Thanksgiving film, maybe because of all the food, we decided to go ahead and take a closer look at how Faith and Miles wound up doing the do on that wall.
I think that was Christmas.
Was that Christmas?
I don't know.
But y'all tell us, if it was, you might have been right. Maybe it's a Christmas. But it's in between Christmas and Thanksgiving. It's a holiday film. Let's call it a holiday film. And maybe the reason people think about, because we talked about this a little bit before, the reason people think of it as a Thanksgiving movie is because there is, toward the beginning of the movie, as Ahmad is telling the story of how the soul food shapes the family and whatever, there is on the screen, it says Thanksgiving like for 1 year and shows how they came together and whatever, as just kind of painting the picture of the family and how soul food is a big part of it.
And they eat like Thanksgiving every Sunday.
I know. It must be nice. Or maybe not so nice when you see what happened to Big Mama. But we'll link the previous videos that we've done on soul food in the description in case you're just in a soul food mood and you want to see more of our videos on soul food. A lot of you, though, miss videos because you're not getting your YouTube notifications, and we have fixed this. So be sure to subscribe to our mailing list for personalized notifications on all of our videos as they are released across all of our channels, so you won't miss anything, and you'll get them in the form of an email.
Yeah, so it'll show every video that we released that week, too, because we're doing multiple a week, and y'all don't even know.
Yes, and the link so that you can join the mailing list, and it's free, is in the description. All right, so let's get to what we've all been waiting for. How do Cousin Faith and Miles even wind up getting to the point that they hunching on that wall like that?
Bro, what?
What?
So Cousin Faith, she live a free for life, like
a nomadic kind of a lifestyle.
Yeah, what's the old girl name in the Cosby Show?
Denise.
Yeah, like she lives like Denise, basically.
She just flitters about. But yeah, so Cousin Faith shows up, she's back because, she's always up to something and got some problems or whatever. Yeah. But she claims that she has changed this go round. So she is back and need a place to stay.
She was just an artist though, right?
Well,
just like Miles. So the thing is that, so when you see the whole setup for Faith, it's just, Faith, she don't have no job. She going about like this, but, and other people may have more stable careers, but she's a dancer and stuff, and she's trying to do that, I'm thinking.
Yeah.
But then in a time like the 90s wasn't a great time for people in our community to do that because you're going to just be a video hoe. And I think they kind of pointed to that in a sense.
So that's why they're together. What essentially happens is that Faith goes to stay in the home with her cousin Teri and Miles. And Faith is the daughter of Big Mama, who's Teri's mama, Big Mama's sister. And, and Faith just has a history of, getting Big Mama to co-sign and all these other, she just has needs and, she gets Big Mama to take care of those needs.
So Miles is also an artist too, right? So being like that, Faith goes over and she's supportive, right? his wife Teri isn't as supportive in that aspect of his life. He's a producer and he has this group, he's trying to put out albums and stuff. And then cousin Faith is into that sort of thing, so she goes to see Miles and them perform.
We see that Miles is up there singing with his group Milestone, who are played by like heavy hitters. You got Babyface up there. You got a couple of members from After 7
Who was
on
that
the
guy
stage.
with the high voice?
That's Kevon Edmonds, Babyface's brother from After 7. And then you have Casey and JoJo up there. So you got like some really heavy hitting singing voices up there with him. And it's very funny because all of them are musicians, and I don't think that Michael Beach, the guy who plays Miles, is a musician. I don't really think so. But he's just sitting there, he's smiling, but he lights up when he sees that Faith has come in there.
Yeah.
Because nobody came to support him.
Bruh, he was so happy to see somebody in the audience supporting and seemingly enjoying his dream. Like,
yeah.
It was probably usually strangers in the audience for him.
As outraged and everything, because we know what winds up happening. I just said, let me just take a look at this from each of the characters' perspective instead of just from what you did was crazy. How do we get to that point? And I look here and I think about how happy he was. He was just smiling and waving at Faith and whatever.
Want us to cover your favorite movie ASAP? A one-time contribution of just $50 or more to Axiom Amnesia gets you a deep dive on demand, a 30-minute discussion on any film you choose.
It's easy. Step 1, send $50 via our website, axiom.app, where you can pay via card, Apple Pay, or you can pay directly via Cash App at $Axiom Amnesia. See the links below. Step 2, tell us your movie, email, the name you want to appear on screen, and what kind of deep dive you want. General, a specific character, a particular aspect of the film, etc. Step 3, watch your deep dive on demand with your name listed as executive producer.
Lock in your deep dive on demand today and hurry. Spots are limited.
This offer is not valid for filmmakers or distributors, subject to availability and terms apply. So then after he finishes, his song, he comes over, Faith is at the bar and she's just like, oh, this is great. And I didn't know you could play like that.
I didn't know you could play like that. You're good.
That was the bomb. So
yeah. Okay. 1997.
That was the bomb. I'm serious, cousin.
Then she's like, you really want to take your music seriously and do this full time, huh? Because that's part of the problem between him and his wife, Teri, is that he's an attorney. Okay. So he's got a solid income and all that. He can do everything, make all the money and has, but his heart, that doesn't make his heart sing. So he wants to have this group and do that full time, and
right.
Teri is not on board with it.
And based on the music that I heard, he's pretty talented.
Oh yes. I mean, he's really good. And so Faith is being supportive. And but Faith is like, I heard you and Teri talk.
You really want to pursue your music full time, huh? I heard you and Teri talking.
And so she could hear that because she's up in their house with them, hearing the troubles going on in that marriage. And at one point in the conversation, he says to her, oh, your man is looking jealous over there.
Your man's looking over here, looking a little jealous.
And she's like, well, family comes first, cousin. So she makes sure she's always saying cousin
she called him
to him.
cousin, talking about family comes first. Seems like she viewed him as family.
Yes, clearly.
Seemingly, right? It could just be a tactic.
Yeah, to get his guard down, right? But she's looking him in the eyes and smiling. And, now we have to consider they're drinking also. So, that's lubricating stuff, making people who would normally be friendly even more friendly, and making people be more aggressive than they would normally be in a situation. So we got to think about that too. But he points out, like, your man looks jealous. So meaning, like, they're looking like they're having interactions that would cause a guy who's interested in her to be jealous.
Because I never looked at this scene like this, but the way they were so intently looking at each other
in their eyes, man, you better avert your eyes. Don't be going around looking at married men's eyes like that, because, or married women's eyes, that's just asking for trouble. to be in these types of situations. So then she starts talking about herself. You know, I got to get my career together before I could even worry about a man. I got goals. And he's like, oh, really? Kind of, you know. And she's like, you promise not to laugh.
Promise not to laugh.
And she's like, I want to be a dancer.
I want to dance.
And she's like, nah, I'm not that kind of dancer.
No. I mean really dance.
I want to be somebody who's going to be on Broadway, choreographing the Oscars. Like, so she got big dreams. And she wants to make them happy. She talks about how dancing, you know, makes her feel so good.
Just feels so damn good.
That was just real over the top nasty.
Very.
Girl, you was being extra flirtatious. You knew what you were doing, Faith. Go to the comments. Did Faith know what she was doing, or was she just being Faith? Because I saw somebody in the comments of one of the older videos on this that commented and said, you know, Ebony was the worst cousin from the Players Club because Ebony had a history of sleeping with other people's men. That wasn't Faith's history, but Faith was just vulnerable. And you know, I rejected it immediately when I heard that come. I was like, get out of here. Faith is just trifling. But I'm really giving that a chance. Thank you for bringing that. I'm thinking about this, and I'm like, you know, okay, maybe so. Or do you think Faith was just plotting on her cousin's husband from the beginning?
I don't know. From what I've seen, I don't think so.
You know, and I just think Faith was just being Faith. And she walked right into a troublesome situation.
Right. So they were doing things they probably shouldn't have been doing. So, right. One thing that's been nipped in the bud in modern times, for the most part, I don't know, they kind of, where them fans at, line dancing, right? But the whole notion of dancing with other people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, it's nothing to, back in the day, to dance with someone who you're not intimately involved in. But nowadays, since it's just twerking, you have to be involved with them
to twerk
dance
up on
with them.
Maybe,
so it's not like, come on and dance with me. What do you mean, maybe?
Yeah, because she said, you know, dance with me. And he's like, nah, I'm on my break.
Yeah.
You know, that's what he says. But then he's like, what the hell? And then we don't see them dance, but we know they go off to dance.
Yeah, but it's not odd then to dance with someone who you're not with, right? It's just an innocent dance. But dancing ain't that innocent anymore.
I think back then it was inappropriate for them to dance together.
What?
I do, because it was a slow song.
Oh, come and dance with me.
I'm on my break.
Come on.
You slow dancing with somebody's husband and your cousin? Because where do the hands go in a slow dance? Now, it would be different if you were
on the shoulder.
Well, and that's inappropriate. Does anybody want their spouses?
It happened, right? Can't you dance to a slow song with a family member too?
Like your mama or your daddy or somebody, but not.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But then where do your hands go? See how it works? It's not about that. There are innocent dances that happened in the past. And now I'm saying
making me think of
it's
that
only
one
twerk
video.
dances.
It was making me think of that video I sent you where they said that this is part of a ritual where where the sister of the bride basically twerks on her future brother-in-law, and if he becomes, you know, around, that means that he can't marry the sister. Right. The video we saw, she was like straight bouncing up, and the dude had this expression on his face that looked kind of like he was smiling, and I was like, this is just too much. I can't even. You know, and I don't know if that was just for social media, if that's real or not. I haven't researched it, but it just
second time I've seen something like that. Many years ago, it was one, but the dude they had to do laying on the ground, and she was on top of him.
Okay, y'all, tell us, because we're not enlightened. Tell us about this, how that works, and yeah. But so that's what I'm saying. Like, I come from a culture where, first of all, men you ain't supposed to be even interacting with men who are not quote unquote family, that's close family, you know, in a familiar way. And she was just being a little too familiar with her cousin's husband.
I guess. So what happened is, you know, they went and danced, and then that was just the end of it. But then at a later date, Faith was just like, I'm in a bind, Nate.
So somehow in the next time we see them interacting, we see Miles, he's driving his car along, and then he pulls up and Faith is on the street arguing with this man.
Miles, I'm 5 minutes away
away from the most important audition of my life.
Who apparently she didn't pay, you know, and he was supposed to be playing for her at her audition.
Business is business.
And she's, you know, they in arguing on the street or whatever. And so then she's like, oh, Miles, this fool over here, he won't, you know, so she needs saving.
Yeah. So why didn't she ask Miles first? You know what I'm saying?
Well, probably because she didn't want to be involving him like that, right?
Yeah, I guess.
You know,
hey.
I feel like that's, and another thing, because I was like, did she set this up or what? But no, I don't think she did. It just was happen. It was literally a fluke.
I have a family member who plays piano. Let me go ahead and go somewhere else and try. You know what I'm saying? I think
people
I would
do it
ask
all the
them.
time.
I know they do it all the time.
They don't want to be judged. They don't want, they're like, oh, they don't have
Right.
time for me,
And
whatever.
Based on our comments, you can't ask family for favors because then you get
They're
viewed
gonna want too
negatively
much.
anyway.
So
yeah.
she's in a bind. The guy's like, he ain't gonna play for her. Her audition, she's very close to the audition and she begs Miles. She's like, please, cuz I need this. This is really important to me.
Come on, cuz, please, this is really important to me.
Please play the piano. You could play anything. Just play anything and I'll dance to anything.
Look, the only thing I
Look,
gotta do is just play anything and I'll just dance to it.
She's like, I'll owe you. And then next thing you know, we see him go up to the room. There's a piano that's there. She's, you know, getting herself ready to do her dance or whatever. And then we hear him, the beginning of him playing that piano. And when I tell you, he picked an amazing song. Miles was amazing as a musician. And he begins to play what?
Don't Leave Me by Blackstreet.
Now, a lot of y'all are gonna argue, no, it's not, it's the bar, this is Dream. It's no, it's Tupac. I ain't mad at you. Right? Now, we literally, as we were going through this, just realized what song this actually was. Because, you know, when you hear that melody, number one, it's always gonna be a hit. It is true that the sample is taken from DeBarge, A Dream. And it's a song that Bunny DeBarge sings that's on an old album back from the 80s, right? But the other song that I recognized it as when I saw the movie was Tupac. I was like, oh, this Tupac, I ain't mad at you. But that same year, in February of that year, is when Blackstreet, Teddy Riley's group, came out with this song, Don't Leave Me. And y'all remember that song, right?
Right. So when what you notice is at the beginning, Miles, he has his intro and then it goes into the A Dream, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the intro from Don't Leave Me, right?
Yes.
And A Dream doesn't just repeat that same part over and over too. And I think that's kind of what happened in
Don't Leave Me.
Yeah.
And this is going to inform how we get to where we are, right? If we look at the lyrics to Don't Leave Me. Because I just thought about this because I was like, okay, think about it. He chose the song. He chose what he would play. And the song is like, part of the lyrics are, I'm searching for the words to make you realize that I really, really want you to stay. Oh, yeah. Tears of frustration I hold inside. But if you walk away, you'll make this grown man cry. And then, of course, the hook goes, don't leave me, girl. Please stay with me tonight. And nah, baby, you know, and don't leave me, girl. Please stay with me. Right.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, this song could be a mixture of how he feels about both his wife and Faith at the same time. Because, you know, he wants his wife to support him like that, but she's not supporting him like that because, you know, earlier it also, some of the lyrics to talk about, you know, you got your problems and I got mine. Let's just, you know, end the problems by putting it all together. To me, I feel like, you know, Faith got her problems. He got his problems. He wants to maybe come together with Faith a little bit because he's feeling her. And then we see when she's dancing, which by the way, y'all, can she dance? People who are dancers and who really can judge dancing, because I'm not, you know, it looked like she did a good job to me, but I'm no judge of these things. So go to the comments. Can Faith really dance? Is she good enough to be choreographing stuff? Like, is she good? Let us know in the comments. But aside from that, you know, I'm feeling her to the beat of this song. And I'm like, yeah, okay, girl, you doing it. But then at the end of her dance, she did a little body roll and she done put her arm out basically like with the kind of come here motion. He looking, and at one point he is smiling. Now you can interpret his smile. Maybe he's like, oh, she's doing so good. I did a good thing for my cousin. But more than that, I think he's really starting to feel her,
Yeah.
right?
So why did he seem reluctant to do it to begin with?
Because he don't want to get, you know what? He got his own problems. Look, you got your
Man.
problems, baby. I got mine, just like the song. He got it. You know
This
how
stuff-
people don't want to be bothered, even if,
My
you know.
opinions don't bode well with our audience, but you seen what just happened. She got this great audition. She ain't got no pianist. You there, you the only one do it. I can't second guess that. I have to do it. I'm required to.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I just,
But he just didn't want, it's kind of like, I don't want to be involved.
yeah,
sort
but
of
he
thing.
still did it though.
But he
'Cause
did
I
it. He
kind of
did the
probably
right
would be
thing.
like, yeah, God. I reluctantly do
Then
it.
you'll be on the
Kinda
piano,
like-
you
like
know.
Teri was for the whole movie. I kind of have to because it's family. And
Yeah,
you know.
yeah, but he didn't want to be bothered. He just wanted to drive, get home wherever he was trying to go at that moment, right? So
I'd
the
be like, hold up,
audition,
let me show you something.
the audition seems to go well. Plus, again, he loves to play. He loves to play, and this is more appreciation of his art. And I'm trying to put myself in the shoes. So now we have Faith, though. Faith is like, in a bind, this guy saved me. He helped me. Men who save you and help you are always going to be attractive on some level if you're not just a complete user, you know. And maybe even if you are, they're attractive because you want to be continuing to use them. But I think she sees him though too. She needs him. She does need things. And Faith is needy. She's always needy. She always needs somebody to do something. That's just who Faith is. And to come to his performance was a small price to pay for that goodwill that would allow her to see him on the street and be like, come on, right now, I need you, right? And him to
yeah.
actually go. So that, you know, that's from Faith's perspective. In his perspective, he's getting appreciation. And Faith is showing him her dream in this moment too. And even though it was clearly not premeditated, because this part of it, because how would he know she was going to be on that street? How would she know he would pull up and see her
I don't
arguing
know.
with this guy?
It depends. Maybe that's where he works or where the studio is or something. You know what I'm saying? So, but why did the guy give her money?
Because maybe she came with not all the money, right? She was like, here's $20. I know I owe you $200, but I have 20 and I'll give you more later, you know, because Faith ain't never right with her. You know, she ain't never got it together.
Yeah.
You know, she ain't never got it together. So that is what I think, you know, happened. So yeah, her audition goes well. And like I said, at the end though, the little come hither she does to him, inviting him to something is just inappropriate, Faith. That was inappropriate.
Right. So
There's
then
no
was
way
it
to-
later that night where she gets the call that she basically got the part or whatever, the role that she was
Let's
trying out
see.
for?
He was listening to headphones. Miles was listening to these headphones with his music in it. And then when Faith walks in, he turns the music, you know, on the speakers so that it's just playing softly or whatever.
Teri in.
She comes in and then she's smiling and she sits down next to him and whatever. And, you know, he done played it on the speaker so she could hear it. Because if you're just working, why you just switch it from the headphones? You would just turn it off so you could see what she wants when she comes in. But he's setting the mood.
Bruh, no. What?
Okay, no, go ahead and explain it.
He's
Explain
setting
it
the
away.
mood. He just was still working, right? So he can hear what she says, right? Or whatever's going on, and he can hear the music and stuff that he's working on, so he don't have to stop.
Mm-hmm. So she comes over and he's like, well, you know, did you ever hear about the part? Well, first, let me say this. She does ask about Big Mama because this is the point in the movie where Big Mama's in the hospital and she's, you know, going, you know, not doing well. Teri's at the hospital with her mother and so she asked about that first. Then she comes over, sits with him, and then she starts talking to him. And he's like, well, you know, did you ever hear anything back about your audition or whatnot? And then she smiles to let him know that like she got the part.
Any news on your audition?
And he was like, really? And she was like, I was so scared. He was like, you.
I was so scared.
You.
Then he says, I just gave my 2 weeks notice.
I quit.
so his, he quit his job at the law firm that same day. And so she's all congratulating him. Oh, good. Just wait till your album drop and whatever. And I was thinking in this moment, I was like, it's easy for you to celebrate because you don't have anything to do with how his decision affects that family financially, right? Of course they got some savings, but you're not his wife thinking about like, okay, now I need to try to carry the financial load or whatever. Because, Faith is carefree. She ain't got to worry about nothing.
Yeah, but Miles is like, this is what I want to do, and he's taking a step to do it, which
so that's the flip side.
He wants his wife to celebrate it,
right?
too.
That's the flip of that, and she does say, "Let's celebrate." So that's what Faith says. Let's celebrate.
Let's celebrate.
So celebrate means let's start drinking. So then it kind of clearly some time has passed. They've been drinking for a while, and Faith tells him that she's moving out that weekend.
I'm moving out this weekend.
And Miles' response to her is like, you letting her run you out, talking about Teri.
So you're letting her run you out of here, huh?
You're damn right.
And she was like, yeah, Teri is hard and whatnot. And, but she's like, yes, and I can't stay in one place for too long. I live that nomadic kind of lifestyle, blah, blah, blah.
I'm always on the go and I can't stay in one place too long.
And she's like, but it's no hostilities. But when it's time to go, it's just time to go.
When it's time to go, it's time to go.
So Miles just tells her, he cuts to the chase and he's like, well, I think that's BS. And she's like, what? And he's like, it's BS.
Sounds like bullshit.
And it sounds like a lonely life. And you need to stop pretending like you don't need anybody because you're just lying to yourself.
Stop pretending you don't need anybody because you're just lying to yourself.
And after he says that, then he gets up and he's like, well, I'm going up to the studio.
Going up to the studio.
So let's talk about our new merch. Think for yourself, question everything, and break free from the so-called truths that they want you to accept. The Axiom Amnesia collection is here with bold logo t-shirts and hoodies designed for thinkers like you who refuse to settle for assumptions. Stand out and make a statement. Show the world you don't just go along to get along, you think critically. Plus, this is a great way to support the channel and all of the work that we do here. So get yours today. The link's in the description, or you can visit us anytime at axiom.app.
So when she says that, hey, I'm about to move out, this weekend or whatever, that really moved up the timeline. So they decided they had to smash before she leave.
I mean, she's like, let him know, like, this in-house, is only going to be here. After this, you're going to have to pay for a hotel.
Yeah, but they was drinking beers. And
yeah.
shit, so, too.
So then he goes up to his studio, which is like on the upper level of, their home or whatever. So he goes up there and he's playing his music in there. Next thing we know, here come Faith. Now, girl, why did you go up there? Jezebel. Yes. Why did you go up there? There is only one reason you went up there.
Yeah.
And so now this is just troublesome. This is terrible. So she walks in, and as soon as she walks in, he cuts off the music. He's not letting the music play.
Bruh.
And he's just sitting there in his chair. She comes over and then she grabbed the back of his neck, ran her hand through the back of his neck the same way as Charlie Kirk's wife had done JD Vance on that stage. That's exactly how she ran her hands through the back of his on his neck. And then he touched her thigh because, she kind of comes close and she's still standing while he's sitting. He touched her thigh and that was about it. He done stood up. They done started kissing and you just like, oh, I can't believe that this is, what it is. So she walks him over to the wall. Then she start unbuckling his pants with her back against the wall. So she starts unbuckling his pants, drop him down. She done cocked up a leg to the side. I'm like, y'all not even finna lay down with it. You just finna go right there on this wall and hunch on up. So then he starts stroking. And at this very moment is when Teri and Ahmad come into the house and they're downstairs. And she's like, oh, I don't see Miles or whatever she calls his name.
Miles? Uncle Miles are home.
Oh, he must be up in the studio. So then they both gonna walk up the stairs to the studio, which you have to go outside to get to. It's like kind of like a rooftop sort of thing. And so Meanwhile,
Ahmad is taking in the views.
yeah, and meanwhile, Miles is just at this point, he just all the way deep trouble, if you know what I'm saying. And I mean, just on the wall, and whatnot. And then Teri sees it through the window because as soon as she comes up, she can see it. She's in front of Ahmad, so she can see that he is in there. And So then when she realizes, she's like, okay, we need to leave. Turn around and leave. So she's like, gets Ahmad out of there so he doesn't see it as well and ushers him on back downstairs.
We gotta go. But Teri, I thought go back to your house.
What would Ahmad have done if he would have saw it?
He'd have been like, why is he doing that with Cousin Faith? Because that's just the type of character he was. So then it's over kind of fast, or whatever, because again, this was just urges of the moment, It's over. And then when it's over, he drop her on back down and whatnot and buckles his pants up. But he's looking at her. He doesn't really break eye contact with her. He stares her in her face and he's looking at her almost, and this is the first time I really noticed this, almost like with a hurt look in his eye, like he can't believe it. Yeah. And then she looking at him like hurt. And
yeah, don't you feel bad for them?
I'm going to tell you how I feel in just a second. Then she turns her head and looks away. And he just turned out silently and walk on up out of there. And then, but she shrinks down to the floor, like do a wall slide down, and then turn her head to the side, like almost dejected and rejected. Because when it was done, he wasn't trying to kiss her no more. He had come to his senses, and yeah.
Instead of dancing, she should be an actress.
Let me tell you
something. Or are you saying
something.
she really felt bad because of his reaction?
I think that, okay, so I have a couple possibilities. One of them is, did you think you could take him? You know what I'm saying? Did you think that because he was feeling you so much that like maybe y'all could actually not just hook up like this, but that you got him in your ensnared, and that now he's in your web, and that like it could be y'all too, right? Because did you think that? Was it just a momentary mistake? Because you went up there for a reason.
Yeah, because he said you need somebody, and then she was like, oh, maybe it's you I need.
And, okay, so we can go with that. So if that was the case, maybe she's like, well, he's not happy with Teri anyway. They got problems, and maybe he could be there for me. We are well suited and, whatever. So maybe that's what she's thinking in her bird brain at this moment. And so she's... so anyway, so they do it. And then when I think her hurt is after she realizes it, she realizes she done messed up because neither of them know that Teri has seen, but he rejects her after it. Let's be clear. When it's done, he rejects her. Like he got his rocks off and he's done. And let's talk about the hurt that he looked like he felt. He looked like he kind of felt almost like, and I'm not a blame the woman kind of person in that way, but almost like he was looking at it like, what did you do? Like he didn't do it.
So why did he do it?
He couldn't resist it, right? I think he couldn't resist it. And he couldn't resist it because it had built up. Because you had the first incident, y'all drinking and kikiing and slow dancing. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't just one time. Then you have the second incident where you're looking at her, grinding and rotating while you playing your piano. So now you sharing your love of the art along with your love of how she looks to your music and all of these things. So now that's prepped it and set the stage. And then you just still, when she came home, you didn't have a good enough sense to get out of her face or her to get out your face. And just, you know what I'm saying? And y'all there by yourself. And then she's like, let's celebrate. And you maybe have anxiety because you just quit your job. And you're like, let's celebrate. Okay, I'm going to celebrate. And then you get yourself, because, it wasn't like they was just tossing back shots, but they were drinking some.
They smashed after one beer.
So then, okay, if they smashed after a few, let's just say they had a few, 2, 3, whatever. Was it just
Teri
one?
walked in and she looked at the table, it was 2 bottles.
Well, okay then. So they ain't even finished their beer. So that really means so it wasn't like, oh, I was just drunk. It was just, I'm gonna go on and do this. She gave, like you said, she done moved up the timeline. Look, I'm moving out this weekend. So if you want this, you can go on, But the thing is, he did quote unquote the right thing. He left. He said, now, was him going up to his studio, was that an invitation? I'm going to the studio. Or like if a man said, I'm going up to the bedroom. So is the studio like, was that an invitation for her to follow and come?
I don't think so. I just think that,
or he was just like, I said what I had to say, right? Because he said, but what is the last thing he said to her? You acting like you don't need people, and I think it's BS. I'm going on up to the studio.
That's crazy. She always needs somebody, and so does everyone else who say that. You know how people always like, I don't need nobody. Y'all be needing people.
All the time.
Yeah. So after he blew one off, did Miles blow up after this?
What you mean?
She said he gonna blow up when the CD drop.
Nah, I don't think. I think in the end, like at the end of the movie, I think he did all right. Like I don't think he got to be no superstar. I just think he did all right.
But he had Jodeci and After 7.
So
and Babyface.
I think it was definitely the right decision for him to pursue his music career. I don't think that was wrong. I just, clearly just the act of what happened was wrong. But do you think that anybody in the comments too, do y'all think it's about, because I'm trying to think about every character's feelings. We already been hashed how Teri was devastated and how she just got done wrong and this is family. We already understand that. We know that that's off the table because we have discussed that. But what we haven't talked about is these other two characters and how they get to the point where they hunching up on this wall like this. So, how does Miles get here? Forget whether he's wrong and all of that. How does he get to the point where this is happening?
I don't know. I think for the sake of movie, like you explained, they show the progression towards that. But in real life, I don't think that's enough. Somebody showed up and support them. You helped them and y'all did music together. And then y'all get good news and then go up and smash.
Yeah.
But they both probably had a hate for Teri too. That kind of brought them together.
Because even though Faith was like, no hard feelings, it was hard feelings because Teri was treating Faith like she might have deserved to been treated from the way that Faith had been behaving. I'm not going to argue that.
When she walked in, she was sneaking around because she was trying to avoid Teri. Because, whatever their relationship was, not for the reason of smashing. I'm saying she probably did that every time she went in.
She was
there.
like, I don't know. Where's Teri? There? Okay, all right. Let me sneak off to my room because I don't want to run into her. Because Teri didn't have respect for her and their relationship was strained. And, like she says, Teri is hard. Like dealing with Teri is hard. So you have that. All right. But back to the hurt look on Miles's face. Do you feel he felt like it was Faith's fault? Go to the comments, y'all. Do y'all think he thought it was Faith's fault or didn't really see his responsibility? Like he felt like, oh, you done snagged me. Now look what you did to me. Do you feel like that was his impression? Or was it like, why was he hurt? What was the hurt look about in that moment? Was it just that I've cheated on my wife? Because I think with the tension that they had leading up to that, I don't know that he would have looked like that necessarily if he felt justified in it or not.
Why would he feel justified though? I don't think he would.
Because she wasn't supportive.
Yeah, but
some people would have been like, well, if you would have been more supportive, I would have, but that wasn't how he came off. I'm just saying. And, we laugh because people will be like, oh man, Michael Beach ain't never, played a good guy in anything he's been in. He's always like, this, bad guy, especially thinking about Waiting to Exhale. But I think in this movie, he's more empathetic than perhaps I gave credit for initially because, I'm only looking at it from one angle, which is Teri's angle in the past. I never considered what brought him to that. I mean, even though I saw that, but to me, I was like, whatever. I don't care about his dreams. Look at what this fool did,
Yeah.
So I didn't have much empathy.
Right. So is it slut shaming if it's like, hey, this is maybe kind of your relative, but you laid on the ground with your cheeks out? You know how it's like a woman should be able to do what she want, dress how she want to dress, right? So she should be able to have some beers with the man and have her cheeks out. And yeah,
Yeah, I just think that's where the whole slut shaming or appropriateness thing. But see, I feel like there are rules of of what's appropriate for both men and women. And my rules are not just simply a double standard to say, you know, men can do whatever they want and women can, you know, hey, make sure that you're, you know, walking this fine line. No, I mean, it was inappropriate. See, what Miles should have done, a couple things. Let's just look at the things that went wrong in this scene. When she walked in, okay, you got your part. Okay, that's great. But even when she's like, let's celebrate, he was like, he could have just said, you know what, maybe another time, I'm tired, you know, I got to get such and such together and I need to go do XYZ so that he can get away from around her.
Well, he shouldn't have to lie.
Well, okay. If you're going to find something else to do, then, you know what, maybe another time. And
no,
but the point is to get up from around her. Yeah. But that's why you say something like maybe another time. And if it's not going to be another time, just say, well, you know, not right now because I know.
No, that's still see, that's the whole nicety of the culture. It's no.
Okay, if she says let's celebrate, you could just say no.
Yeah, because another time, then you could be like, well, he was just leading her on. He know that she wanted to smash and he didn't reject her.
Okay, what about if he just said, you know, Teri's going to be home soon and I want to get an update on
and I don't want to get caught. No.
Okay,
so
yeah,
why can't you just say the thing? No, I don't think it's appropriate.
Okay, so do you think he should have had a whole conversation with her and said, well, I want to have, well, no, that would have been a good one. Hey, you know, I want to wait for Teri because I want to talk to her about this too and, you know, let her know what's going on. And then hopefully we can all celebrate, right?
And that then I'll know if there's need to celebrate after I talk to her.
Or if I'm going to have to move out.
We going to have to move out.
You know, he was like, I'm going to put you on ice for a minute, baby. Just let me see what Teri's saying. And then that's going to depend on what your spot going to be. No. But seriously. So so that's how I look at that. And you're right. Why can't you just say the thing and because it feels rude. And I just think that you could just be operating by just first of all, it should have never got to that. For those of you who don't know, you should visit axiom.app. And you'll be able to look at all of the recent videos across all of our channels. And I'm putting that on the screen right now just so y'all can see it and see what it looks like. Because there are a ton of videos that are over there. And also, I think that there are at least about 100 exclusive videos that are available for our Patreon members and our YouTube members. So, you know, if you're interested in more of our content, as I've seen many of you binge watching, be sure to check those things out.
All right. So let's say he didn't want to smash or nothing.
Right.
Until she showed up in the studio. Right.
Right.
Then that's what not wanting to be rude leads to.
Okay, then. You're right.
He probably didn't want to be rude and be like, yeah, I'll have a beer or we can celebrate.
Yeah. Okay. So let's just, because that's realistic, not wanting to be rude. And that is part of who we are culturally as people, you know, is that we try not to be rude, at least according to the standards of whatever our culture is, right? And so then we have a situation where now they done been drinking a little while. He says now he's trying to dismiss himself. Let's assume that he still doesn't want to do anything. I'm dismissing myself. Hey, I think what you said is BS. You know, you need to quit trying to, like, he's trying to give her some good advice for life. Quit trying to, you know, act like you don't need anybody and whatever. And that's his little tidbit of advice he's giving her, right? Let's say that's the case. And he's like, look, I'm going up to the studio to finish what I was doing when you walked in.
Yeah.
Right? And then he goes up to the studio. But then here she come.
Yeah.
To the studio. So he tried to get away from her in that moment.
He didn't lock the door either. I'm sure it's a lock on your studio.
He should have locked that door. But then she would have been at the door. She'd have just rattled the door. Faith wasn't going anywhere.
What if she would have just bust that window in and be like, all right, I'm in here now. Smash me.
I mean, you know, but I'm being silly now. But seriously, though, like man, only thing that could have saved him in that moment maybe was if he just left the house. He was like, listen, I'm going to go take a ride and clear my mind and listen to my little beat in the car, see how it sound on the stereo, you know, because she was going to follow at that point. All right. So, but I don't know. I don't know how, now that you brought up all these rebuttals, I don't know how he gets out of it other than just straight out telling her, nah, I don't really want to celebrate. That's it. You know.
Basically. You do. I don't know about the maybe later, all that stuff.
Well, because
Ever really, but sometimes it's understood, but some no.
Well, and maybe later, but not alone. Like I do think that that's something that you have to explain to some people who are inappropriate, right? And don't know how to be appropriate because maybe they've been operating off of different rules. So, there'll be situations where it's like, okay, yes, we can do X, Y, Z, but not alone.
Yeah.
It needs to be, and so sometimes they'll have to pull your coattails on that.
So why did they decide to have them go up to the studio like that instead of right where they were, smashing right there? Because that kind of clears it up a bit, like, oh, they were in the moment and this thing happened.
Well, smashing right there, I think, because the intent was, so I guess maybe the intent wasn't to smash at the point that they were there, and maybe it was never his intent to smash. Maybe. I mean, I'm just trying to give all possibilities a chance.
Okay, yeah, but I'm talking about for the movie's sake, they could have just had it happen. It doesn't mean it's his intent if it just happened.
So you mean
right
if
there.
she just started touching, if she do that, back of the head rub.
She's reaching for a new beer and she kind of leans over and her head falls in his lap or something. You know how it is.
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying. I mean, yeah.
But the other way, she had to go up there, and I know that's like, oh, we need her to walk in on them, right?
Yeah,
and not be able to.
But the
for
kid
them not to
not
know.
see it too,
but the kid
and
didn't
for
even
them
have
to
be
not
there,
know it,
right? But it could have been that it wouldn't be odd for her to run up in there and be like, "I got the part," and then you could just move the scene to the rooftop in the studio.
But and then the rooftop in the studio does give the opportunity, like you said, to see, to be seen, but not know that you're seen.
Yeah.
So
she wants to hear some of the album too, right? It could be.
And maybe it softens what he did, even though it was with her cousin, because it's not like they was like, let's go up to the bed that I share with Teri and let's bone right there, or let's bone right on our couch.
Yeah,
it's his studio. Right? Even though it's their house, it's like saying they're in his space and somehow there's, I don't, that's weak as hell to me, but I'm reaching.
he didn't defile the house.
Just the studio, which is attached, but you got to go outside to get to
once they break up, then the studio ain't the studio no more. You know what I'm saying? It could become Teri's storage.
So... Oh, she gonna have flashbacks every time she
then she
goes up there in a little storage.
Down,
just tear it down.
It's separated, right?
But that's basically that scene, and examining it this way has made me feel a little bit different about how they got to that point. Now, it's hard I feel like there was definite premeditation on Faith's part. But I don't know about Miles. Do you think Miles premeditated? Did you think the whole time, not the whole time?
No, because he would have to know that she would go up there and do that.
Okay. So, do you think he wanted to sleep with her from the beginning? Let's just start there.
From the beginning, no.
Do you think when he saw her, when do you think he wanted to sleep with her for the first time? That he was like, I would hit, when do you think he had that thought?
I don't know.
Was it when he was performing and then they slow dance maybe? Do you think it was when she's dancing in her audition? Is it not until she comes up there and he done stroked her leg up in the studio when it's right about to go down?
I don't think he really stroked her leg. I think the first thing he did was just start grabbing her panties.
Oh, okay.
So,
well, that's...
I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know when she planned on doing it.
Well, that was going to be my next question. When do you think it occurred to her? I feel like...
We know it's probably before she walked up those stairs.
We know it's before she walked up the stairs. And then I want to say that I feel like she was plotting from the point that she saw him perform. But then I also want to give some defense to people who are just inappropriate, but they're not premeditating being inappropriate. You know what I mean? They're just, girl, would you put some clothes on? Girl, would you know what I'm saying? Boy, would you, why are you over here like that being so familiar? Things like that, where they're not trying to do something, but they just don't know how to be appropriate. Okay, so there's that piece. She didn't know that she was going to see him on the street, and he didn't know he was going to see her. So I can't say that she premeditated that moment, but I do think she was feeling him definitely from the point that he performed. And then when he saves her, that adds another level to adoration, because like, I already feel you because you're this artist and you feel deeply, and oh, it feels so good, like she said, right? Then now you've saved me, you've got me, you are responsible for helping me get this job that I just got that's gonna let me move out and it's making my life better, right? And then now in the moment where y'all are talking, and then he's like, stop acting like you don't need people. Could she have completely misinterpreted that as the invitation to go upstairs, and she just stupid?
All right. Yeah,
I don't know.
Maybe. So the thing is too that he didn't know that she would go upstairs. I don't think. Right?
Nah, I don't think he knew.
I think he was trying to de-escalate, as you would probably put it, right? He was trying, all right, I'm going up to the studio. And then what happened was,
see, there was the leg rub right there on there.
Yeah, because he was reaching up.
Oh, well, yeah.
The thing is that she was like, once she opened that door and went in there, and he's been backing up. Now he's backed all the way into the corner. Right? He has nowhere else to go. Then at that point, he knew. That's why he was looking like that when she was walking over, and he's like, she's going to smash me.
As if he has no control over it. I'm about to be smashed.
That's
by her.
Yeah, basically.
I've been caught.
Cornered.
I've been
That's what it
cornered.
was.
There's nowhere to
So
go.
Teri is tripping because Miles just got cornered, right?
I don't want to bring Teri into this because no, we're not going to make
like,
that
what's
leap.
that one comedian who was like, he was in trouble because he pressured some woman into doing something?
Oh, Aziz Ansari.
Yeah.
You know,
And then people was like, wait, what? She just didn't say.
Yeah, he harassed her into giving it up.
Like,
you know, come on.
Yeah.
Can we?
That's basically what Faith done to Miles.
And maybe on a much milder level, right? Well, no, what she did was dared him to say no, and he didn't say no.
Right. Once she opened that door, then that was it. He was just like, it's over.
What do y'all think? Because it's so much easier to, decide that you don't like a character. And let's just put this to the world, that you don't like a person for the things that they've done when you're not willing to look at the world through their eyes. Now, things are clearly wrong, but it's much harder when you put yourself in that person's shoes and say, how did they get to the point that they did this foolish thing? And when I look at Miles, man, could it be that politeness is what made Miles get totally cornered? And we want to believe that Miles in this movie is the same character as Michael in Waiting to Exhale, and he's not. Okay, let's just be clear. This is not the guy who was brass and brazen about his cheating and Waiting to Exhale. Michael was like, I don't want her to be alone tonight. I'm going to be with her, and I'm leaving you on New Year's Eve. That's what Michael told Bernadine in Waiting to Exhale. This character,
wasn't his name John?
Oh, I'm sorry, John. I'm thinking of Michael. Okay, anyway. John in Waiting to Exhale. Excuse me, I've been corrected. So forgive me for that. So y'all don't need to say it 50 times in the comments. But yeah, John in Waiting, he was just blatantly cheating. And Bernadine knew it. And then when he decided he was going to do what he did, and if that was Miles, if Miles was that same character as John, Miles would have been like, Teri, your cousin is looking fine. And, we both artists and we going to live our life together now.
What?
Let's go on and get that divorce.
So how much younger was she?
Well, she was cousin age younger. How much younger can your cousin be?
I don't know, 20 years?
I mean, she could be, but I feel like, so here's the other piece. I do feel like Faith was definitely in her 30s. And I think she was old for the dream, which is probably why she was like, don't laugh.
Why do I just view the character as younger?
But maybe she could have been younger. She could have been, maybe she was late 20s, because think about Bird's age. If she was Bird's age, you know, Bird was,
they were young.
you know, in her 20s.
It's
they
just
were
that
young.
I see Vanessa Williams as older.
And
That's
she
the thing.
is,
And
you know.
then, so then Miles gets that age.
But Miles, you know, I think Miles was probably like the same age as not Maxine, as Teri in the movie. So
yeah, maybe you have the older.
You know, but like maybe let's just say, what if he's 10 years older than her? Maybe. You know, and that could be another thing, right? This young thing is interested in me, you know, but I come away with this well, one thing I can definitely say definitively is that they were both stupid, and they could have been more than just stupid, but at a minimum, they were both just stupid. Like, bruh, you were being inappropriate. If you were just appropriate, this never would have happened. You know, and then same thing with her. And at worst, you got Faith just plotting on her cousin, and you got him just feeling justified perhaps at some points in what happens because his wife is unsupportive. Maybe.
Yeah.
You know, hard to say. Y'all go to the comments. What do y'all think?
Yeah. Who was the worst person, Cousin Faith or Miles?
Yeah, that's really the question, isn't it?
If you made it this far, type "don't leave" in the comments so we'll know you're one of the real ones who stick around to the end.
And be sure to check out one of the videos that's on the screen right now. And also be sure to visit axiom.app, where you'll find all of our recent videos in one place with links to them back to YouTube so that you can watch them here.